You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio. Here at the BQN Network, we support and express solidarity for all of the writers and actors that have brought us the stories we passionately speak about. We continue to show love to all that are fighting the good fight for the WGA, SAG-AFTRA, and any upcoming strikes. We stand with you.
Infinite diversity.
Live long and prosper, and welcome to Infinite Diversity, a Star Trek Universe podcast, here on the BQN Podcast Collective. I'm your host for today, Thad. Chrissie is on shore leave. Dr. Mignone found out that she had not missed an episode in all of the years she'd been podcasting about Trek. That's 182 episodes, starting with The Line on Trek FM before moving over here to Infinite Diversity, beginning in July 2019. So she's now on Risa and would really just like to be left alone with her book. Joining me in her place today is my co-host from License to Spiel, Carl Wonders. Carl, how are you today?
I am doing great. I'm just looking for something preferably green and glowing to drink right now.
Well, it's Romulan ale o'clock somewhere.
Indeed.
Also joining us today is Caleb Dorsch from the Starfleet Academy Awards podcast. Caleb, how are you?
I am great, practicing slam poetry for Worf.
Excellent. Before we jump into our topic for the day, we'd like to take a moment to thank our Patreon patrons who make our show possible, particularly our associate producers, Carl Wonders here, and Chrissie De Clerck-Szilagyi. Listeners, you can hear your name listed as one of our associate producers for a monthly subscription of just $10 at patreon.com/BQN. And with a monthly Patreon subscription of just $5, you can join our Meetings of the Hive Mind. Watch your Patreon messages for details. So, as far as news goes, literally hours after we spent like half an hour talking about the WGA strike with Aaron Waltke last week, they made a tentative agreement with AMPTP, which is now still technically tentative, but it appears to be well on its way to becoming permanent. The WGA strike is over, so that's great. And SAG-AFTRA is going back to negotiations next week, so we can hope that that may be on its way to coming to a resolution that will provide the actors with fair compensation for their work. The WGA contract, I admit I have not read the contract, and it wouldn't help me if I did, because I'm not a lawyer, but from everything I've heard from people who are very much involved in this, the writers got pretty much everything they were asking for.
Just great.
And some of the things I was reading about specifically was, especially with regards to like how AI is used in writing and like making sure it's transparent whether or not AI has been used before they start drafting things based off of it, and making sure their work's not getting fed into AI without their permission and things like that. Like, it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and interestingly, one thing I saw on that is technically the agreement seems to say that the studios could use entirely AI without writers as much as they wanted to, but there's a trick to that, in that U.S. copyright law says that if AI writes something, you can't copyright it. So they would need an actual writer involved with the AI to do it, and therefore at that point all of the stipulations and rules come into play. So yeah, that's very good. They're also getting residuals and larger writers' rooms, and yeah, just everything looks great with that, and that's fantastic. It looks like the studios really miscalculated on this one, because I remember when this started, there were all those people saying, oh, well, we'll just wait until we starve out those writers and then we'll get everything we want. Didn't work out so well for them, did it?
Well, and now the staff writers are getting paid for their scripts, which is crazy.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's great. And I will hope. Obviously, I am not an expert on any of this, but I would think that the fact that the contract is so good for the writers means that I suspect the actors will also get a pretty decent contract when they go to the negotiation table.
One would hope.
So it's possible that we'll be back on track and making new Star Trek before the end of the year.
Star Trek 4. Star Trek 4.
Oh yeah, I guess that's technically news this week.
I'm sorry, I had to bring it up.
Nope, there was an article from who was it they interviewed that said Star Trek 4 is still on track? One of the writers, I think. No. I'll believe it when I see it. When I am sitting in the theater and I see that Paramount Mountain, that's when I'm going to believe that Star Trek 4 is actually happening. I don't think there's any other news. I will say we did get another very short Trek this week, and this time, unlike the first two, which I outright couldn't stand, or the third one, which I grudgingly found amusing, this one was actually good.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I thought, I joked about it yesterday, but Aaron Walke just straight up gave us 5X, and I wasn't expecting that.
That was certainly a thing.
Well, and he replied to my tweet earlier too, and he shared the original notes. He teased about it, and he wrote 4Vix on a notepad, and it turned into 5Vix. I guess there were some issues between 2Vix of the first episode of Lower Decks season 4 with I guess how they were implementing things there, so he had to go from 4 to 5. I don't know. You could ask him. You should ask him.
We should, yeah. But yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, it was absurdist humor, but it was fun and clearly from someone who knows and loves Star Trek. And I think that made all the difference. I enjoyed it a lot. I like the implication that all of these are the voyages is actually a fictional holodeck program. That is very good to hear. Also, Paramount, please sell those Quark keychains because they look awesome.
Here. And some, Murph plushies and Moopsy and all the other things they should be selling that they're not.
You can buy a $60 Murph popcorn bowl, though.
Oh my god.
All right, so this week we had an episode of Star Trek Lower Decks, Empathological Fallacies. Caleb, what did you think this week?
I really liked it. I think out of the 5 episodes so far this season, this is definitely towards the top for me. If not number 1, it's number 2 right behind our second episode that featured our beloved Moopsy. I thought that the strength really, the strength lies in T'Lyn and her story and furthering that story. So I really appreciated that. And I thought the sea story with Boimler was funny too. So as a whole, it was good. It was pretty solid. I think some of the comedy beats landed more for me the second time around. But first time around, I was just really absorbed in the story, and the story was good. So,
I definitely find that when I watch the second time, I pick up on a lot of the jokes that I completely missed the first time. Carl, what do you think this week?
No, I agree with everything Caleb said. I thought, it's definitely near the top for me as well. I mean, Tuvix, for all of its, as much as I loved that episode, it's really kind of a trifle of an episode. And this one, for about the first half or so, I thought it was just going to fall into the category of, this is kind of silly, but still fun. And then it kind of did a pivot and became about something, and something that I really resonated with, honestly, the whole idea of, I'm less than I should be because I'm not conforming or behaving the way I'm expected to. And I think we all can relate to that at some point in our lives where you sit there and you wonder, why am I not like everybody else, or why am I not doing the right thing? And Tylen's going through that, and it was surprisingly a touching episode at times for me. I did think the humor was great, and I loved how they played on our knowledge of Star Trek in a way that worked against us. Because, you're sitting there and you say, oh, of course it's the Xanthi fever because I saw Fascination once or twice or 18 times, and I know how this is going to go. And then it turns out that it's not that at all, which was a great idea. And the way they played that, played off of the expectations of who they were writing the story for.
It's like a Betazoid MacGuffin of sorts. I think that's probably the closest thing I could compare it to. But yeah.
Carl, if you've watched Fascination 18 times, I am worried for you.
It's not a great episode of Star Trek.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I like the bait and switch. It's especially amusing because, like, yes, it's Fascination, but at the same time, I'm also thinking, it's like Sarek, but with the Betazoids. But no, it's like Sarek, but with the Vulcan.
But with the Vulcans, yeah.
So it's just Sarek. Because he's Vulcan as a motherfucker.
Yeah.
I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to bleep or just use an explicit tag for this episode, but obviously one or the other is going to have to happen.
Yeah, that would be the, I guess, the one, I don't have an issue with it, but I could see how a lot of people might be turned off by this episode.
Apple would consider that a problem.
Well, but just in general, like the amount of language in this episode compared to other ones, that definitely quite a few F-bombs that they had to bleep out, and yeah.
On that topic, is this the first time that motherfucker has ever been used in Star Trek?
I think it is. I really think it is. I mean, obviously there was the whole over-the-top hand-wringing when Tilly dropped the F-bomb in Discovery Season 1.
And they've certainly used fuck.
They've used it in Picard a few times, yeah.
And Lower Decks has had it quite a bit as well.
Lower Decks has used it too, but I mean, look at Dr. T'Ana. I don't think they've ever gone the whole the whole George Carlin on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a couple in Picard, right? But not.
Oh yeah.
Not to that extent.
Picard never called anyone a motherfucker.
Right. No.
Just some sheer fucking hubris and.
Yes.
I
feel like Liam Shaw had something.
Picard himself said fucking in season 3.
Right.
When he was at the bar.
Yeah, when he was recounting the story of... Yeah.
It was 10 grueling fucking hours or something like that, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is the second time... If I were going to rank lines of the season, T'Len has the top 2 lines for me, and I think the top line from the season so far is, I suppose by the transitive property, I too am Vulcan as a motherfucker. I mean... All the credit to Gabrielle Ruiz and the way she delivers all of T'Len's lines are totally deadpan and wonderful, and the timing is great.
I agreed to a single hug. A single contact, that's what it was.
Yes. That is not an activity that I wish, or what she says, that is not an activity I'm interested in pursuing or doing that. But, no, the other line I'm thinking of is the one in Tuvix when
I am here to hydrate.
She says, "I'm here to hydrate, not to talk about an anomalies agency or something like, or debate an anomalies agency."
The funniest line in Tuvix is not a funny quotable line though, because the funniest line in Tuvix, in my opinion, is when Michael Sullivan is wiping down the astrometrics panel and says, "I miss my wife."
Miss my wife. Yes.
I totally missed that. I need to go back and watch that. That's funny. I was just... Yeah, I'm still on...
he's wiping the control panel with a bar rag. Well, that's also
what
funny.
Was it?
And
then,
yes.
Is that was the thing that got me. Yeah.
Oh, yes! Swaleson.
Anyway. This is about empathological fallacies, not Tuvix.
Yeah, right.
No, it's Swale Swalens.
We never go off topic.
That was it. Swale Swalens. Because he's a
Swale
combination of Steve Stevens and Matt the Whale.
Yes.
Not my best work.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love Lower Decks.
Yep.
I think this might have been the first use of motherfucker. And
did Mariner use it in Crisis Point, the first one?
Possibly.
I feel like when she confronted herself, she might have said something.
Also, they definitely basically used an F-bomb in Strange New Worlds this season. In Charades, when Spock first wakes up as a human, he says, and they cut.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
He was not going to say fish.
And weirdly, I would have been a little more annoyed had they actually finished that sentence on Lower Decks than all the bleeping they do the finish that line in Strange New Worlds and then all the bleeping they do in Lower Decks, because that's what you expect from Lower Decks. Like I don't even really pay attention to the bleeping anymore. It's just part of the experience, I think.
And I believe Mike McMahon is quoted as saying that they were given the option to just straight up use the swear words in Lower Decks, but he thinks it's funnier to bleep them, and I think he's right.
I think he's right, yeah.
I think that when Lower Decks has run its course, they should release a complete series box set
uncensored
with
Lower Decks,
uncensored versions of everything.
So the real question, are we talking uncensored I Excretus as well?
The Boimler shot? No,
naked time. Well, it's interesting you bring that episode up, because that little holodeck portion of that episode was very similar to a lot of the crap that was happening in the bar in this episode.
Yes. So, I definitely thought about that, yes.
I mean, the Betazoids straight up were like, it's really horny in here. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I also feel like the fact that they talk about the carpet, that knowing the production schedule, this episode actually they would have been able to stick that joke in regards to Picard season 3.
Mm-hmm.
When the Betazoids say, I like the carpet, it's so great for passing out on. Obviously, that's a joke in and of itself, but just saying I like the carpet, that's gotta be a reference to the carpet discourse during Picard.
Yeah, no, I definitely had that thought, and I was like, oh man, poor Dave Blass.
Yeah, that's something that came out this week, in that apparently Dave Blass, if they ever do make Star Trek Legacy, Dave Blass wants to put carpet on the Titan, or I'm sorry, the Enterprise G.
I'm about it. I'd love that. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make sense to have those shiny reflective floors everywhere. Like, beyond the fact that it's just visually distracting, like, it's just hard on your feet if you're walking around all day on, like, well, I don't know what the floors are made of. They're probably not made out of concrete underneath the shininess, but still, like, carpet is just easier on your feet.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
Well, who waxes those every day?
There's a reason office buildings and convention centers usually have carpet.
Don't you know the whole ship is just made of bricks? The bricks that catch on fire. I'm sorry. I had to go there.
Yeah.
And certainly rocks that fall from the ceiling.
I don't know if they're flamethrowers in the Enterprise G.
Right.
Freaking flamethrowers in Discovery.
I know.
Yeah, so the Betazoid ladies were partying on Angel 1.
Mm-hmm. They missed a chance to put Ransom in the Angel 1 outfit,
yes.
I think.
Well, they should have shown him still trying to desperately get that to get that one Betazoid. He should have showed up in that outfit, be like, hey.
Didn't they already have someone in the Angel 1 outfit recently?
I think they did,
Maybe that's what happened.
Yeah, I think they did that once.
There. Because I was like, I definitely feel like we've seen it already. but I don't remember who it was.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, they do so much stuff in the background.
So many jokes.
Like, I mean, we had Enbo Jitsu this time, which...
Yeah, I will say, there is one extremely deep-cut joke that I did not even understand and had to get it explained to me on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
When Mariner pops into Talin's quarters to invite her to the party, she says there's a chocolate fountain in case you want to get freaky.
Mm-hmm.
So it's apparently a piece of fan canon. It has never appeared in any official show, movie, or book, but it's apparently common in fanfic that chocolate is like makes Vulcans horny.
Well, I think in the Star Trek IV novel, we find out that sucrose makes Spock drunk.
Yes.
That's the closest I can think. And I might have that wrong, but
No,
I remember
you are correct.
there's a scene that they have to break their money to get on the bus, and they buy a pack of mints.
Yes, you are correct.
And yeah, so that's the closest I can think of to what.
Yeah, no,
about.
I went into a bit of an internet rabbit hole researching this.
Okay,
As one should.
And found a thread on Trek BBS from 2021 where people were trying to figure this out, because it is a thing in Star Trek like fanfic that happens over and over again, and no one's really 100% sure where it originally came from. Because people mention things like that, like the sucrose and some other things. Like, none of it actually, like, there's never a chocolate given to a Vulcan that we know of in Star Trek. But it is a thing in fanfic that chocolate makes Vulcans horny. So that is an extremely deep-cut reference to that. And the fact that Talin responds with, "I don't know what you mean," is a continued reference to that.
Okay. All right.
I learned something today.
Yeah.
Yeah, but did you really need to know that?
No.
Yeah. So yeah, the Cerritos is transporting these Betazoids because of the various ships that have been getting attacked lately. So that's definitely building to something at the end of the season, I'm sure. My money is on Section 31 Boimler inside that ship.
That's where I'm thinking, and I'm hoping it's not Section 31, because I'm still tired of Section 31 from Discovery. But that seems to be the thing that makes the most sense, because we haven't seen that version of Boimler in a while.
Yeah, not since the after credits scene in season 2.
Yeah.
Or season 3, I mean.
Mm-hmm. See, I'm hesitant to make guesses because, you know, with Lower Decks kind of following the movies as their like poster themes, the ship very much is an unknown, like the whale probe is in Voyage Home, and the whale probe just ended up being a probe that wanted to talk to whales. So like, you know, I'm like, I don't know if I want to make a theory.
They use the posters, but they haven't really
fair,
made the seasons those
That's
things.
true.
It's not like season 2 was a Wrath of Khan season.
That's true. That's a good point.
So I'm not sure on that. But yeah, that's I just think it's probably Boimler. But I guess we'll probably find out in the last episode of the season.
Or it could be an Agnes and Peanut Hamper team up, which I would frankly want even less than Section 31 Boimler, because I know someone here loves Peanut Hamper, but I am not one of them.
What if Badgie joins?
I think it's all three. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
There was the post-credit scene.
All I will say about this is that episode 7 is titled "A Few Badgies More."
Well, right, and wasn't there an end scene on? I don't know if it was The Stars at Night or if it was Mathematically Perfect Redemption. There was a little cut scene at the end, post-credit scene, right?
Yes,
and
I think it was the end of Stars at Night.
Right, and sure enough, a Badgie was right there, you know, in that, if I'm remembering correctly. So
you were talking about the Betazoid women. Can we just talk about how it's crazy that the show gets the voice actors they get.
Yes, I was
on the
actually
show.
I was actually about to bring that up. Yes.
Okay.
So these Betazoid characters are played by Rachel Dratch, Janelle James, and Wendy Malick, all of whom are veteran comedy actors who have been in many things. And it's pretty amazing that they got them all right here for this. And I feel like this is the sort of thing that a show can do in its fourth season that they couldn't do in their first season. Absolutely,
yeah. I mean, I think Wendy Malick is perfect in the role that they gave her because, I mean, I know her from Shrinking more recently, but Just Shoot Me is probably where I most know her from, and Janelle James from Abbott Elementary. If you ever watched that one, that's where she. I recognize. I was like, oh, that sounds like.
I didn't even pick up on that. The fact that that's Ava. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah,
and Rachel Dratch,
and then of course Rachel Dratch from SNL, right? So, yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised they didn't work in like a Debbie Downer sketch, like the one sad person at the party in the corner. That would have been icing on the cake, I think. But they probably would have been sued for that.
Maybe.
I would also point out that Wendy Malick is John Goodman's character's wife in The Emperor's New Groove.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Which is not a major role, but it's a voice acting role, so that's why I thought of it. But yeah, it's great that they're here. It's great that Lower Decks is apparently, I guess, prestige enough that they can do these sort of things now.
And I wonder, did it just turn out that they're all Star Trek fans?
I hope so.
Because that seems to happen all the time, where you get these people who just want to be on the show in some fashion. So,
yeah, like bother, I blanking on his name, but what's his name in Discovery?
What's his name?
What? Oh, Cronenberg.
The director who plays COVID.
Yeah, Cronenberg.
Yes,
David Cronenberg.
Well, and Stacey
like David
Cronenberg. All the other people.
Yeah, like David Cronenberg in Discovery.
Well, I mean, going back to Stephen Hawking, for goodness sake.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Mae Jemison,
yeah.
Yeah, he's just the freaking king of Jordan. Tom Morello.
Yeah.
Iggy Pop.
Seth MacFarlane before he was anybody famous.
He was mildly famous at the time. Yeah. He was mildly successful at the time of Enterprise. Family Guy was back on the air at that point.
Thad and I were talking about TNG season 7 before we hit record. I mean, you get Ben Vereen to be Geordi's dad, for goodness sake.
And Paul Sorvino to be Worf's brother.
Yep, exactly.
Carl, were you at STOV the year Ben Vereen was there?
I don't think so.
He's a weird dude.
Is he okay?
Like, just like his Q&A went way off the rails. It was it's honestly pretty similar to, you've seen a Shatner Q&A before.
Too many times.
Yeah, where he just goes off and starts talking about whatever the heck he wants to, and it gets bizarre. And yeah, that was very similar with Ben Vereen.
So, in a good way, not like a Robert Beltran way.
Yes.
Okay.
Too soon.
Cut that out.
I probably won't.
Okay.
Anyway, yes. So we also find out that Caitians used to eat Betazoids.
I love that.
That was weird.
I'm a big fan of that.
I don't know that I love that. Because we're assuming that they come from different places. So, like, the Caitians developed spacefaring, but we're still at a point where they were eating sentient people while they were developed enough to, like, travel the stars.
The Caitians are this century's Gorn, that's all.
Are they related to the Antedians or whoever those were on in the season 1 TNG episode
people?
Where they were eating meat?
No.
No, they were the cat people.
I think they were.
Antikins. That's it. The Antikins. Yes. Yeah. No, not the fish people. I had my wrong.
They're not people.
Well, wasn't there was a one of the fish people was a famous person under the suit.
Yes,
Mick
it was
Jagger.
Mick
Or McFleetwood.
No, it was
that's
Mick
what it
Fleetwood.
No,
That's right,
Mick
that's
Fleetwood.
right.
No, sorry, not Mick Jagger.
He
Mick
did
Fleetwood.
not have moves like Jagger.
No, he did not.
Yeah, it's wild that Mick Fleetwood had a cameo in Star Trek in which you cannot tell it is Mick Fleetwood. That's like some Star Wars stuff that they do.
Yeah.
I mean, they did the same thing with Bruce. They did it with Bruce Horak in Subspace Rhapsody with the Klingons, so...
You could you could tell a little,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like the Daniel Craig cameo that... Well, once you know it's him, you can't unhear it.
Also,
But
Simon Pegg
Pegg
as the,
in Force Awakens.
I still don't recognize him.
Yeah.
Well, because he's all CGI.
But you mean his voice
Yeah.
you don't recognize?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
No, his voice for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Daniel Craig.
Daniel
you
Craig.
can
It's
hear it,
absolutely
yeah.
Daniel Craig when you hear it. Yeah.
Or even Gwendolyn Christie in
Mm-hmm.
the Star Wars movies. Like you can tell her voice, but still.
Well, maybe if she were in more scenes, I would have recognized her.
Don't get me started on Captain Phasma, man. I'm not going there tonight.
Sorry.
We were talking about betazoids being eaten by cat people.
Haitians, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fun when they throw in little random world building elements. I think that's been a strength so far this season. They've tried to put their own spin and flavor on world building that fits in only a way that it would on Lower Decks, but still is like reasonable in the broader universe, I guess, So I'm actually kind of fine with it. Like cats hunt. Like cats. That's what cats do. Like to expectations not to have some, predator prey kind of thing going on. And it's not the first time that's happened in Star Trek, right? We have the Hirogen for crying out loud. So like,
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
yeah. I mean,
The Hirogen don't eat, I don't think. Do they?
I think they just kill for sport.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
still, I mean, you're talking about a species that is warp capable that then, hunts other sentient beings. I mean,
That's fair. Yeah.
why is it the pairing of the Cations and Betazoids? That's such a weird one, but right.
Yeah, that's
Right. That's the part that
Yeah.
is just like, why specifically, I guess, like, there's something about Betazoids that makes them tasty to Cations.
Right.
Because now they eat synthetic Betazoid.
Yeah, that was kind of dark. I did like when Shax was like, "Honey, let's use some of our strategies." when
Doctor.
I hate those!
when Ta'ana's freaking
I hate those
out. Yeah.
bleeping things.
I love Shax in this episode. I love Shax in almost every episode.
Yeah.
And when he gets... Honestly, my favorite thing with Shax, though, is how freaking excited he is at the end to end this occupation.
Yeah.
Like, he's got a huge grin on his face when he bursts onto the bridge. It's like, this is what he lives for.
Well, and like I feel like they've done a good job this season of showing that there's more to Shax than just what was it? He wanted to eject the core, or what was that was his thing before, right?
Yeah,
like,
Please let me eject the warp core. I have been very good this year.
right. And I think that between building in this little relationship with Ta'ana last season, and then moving forward with like how he approaches his job, and I think that was a really cool C story for. Was it B story, C story? I guess it was the C story. Anyway, but yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I like, he's done these sorts of non-typical activities before, where he's in the pottery wheel and stuff, and everything. But it always seems like it's been, we're going to make you do this so you don't become homicidal and, like, go crazy. And this time out, it's it's deliberately therapeutic what he's doing, and he's doing it because it's good for his team to do these things like slam poetry or Starfleet security charades and and building Malcolm Reed puzzles, and which I loved.
And tarot
and the
cards.
Tarot cards with the emissary
card. That was so good.
Yeah. So it's nice, like what you're saying, that they're building out him to not just be this I'm going to explode at any moment kind of person. He's way more controlled now, and I like the message of, we're security, but we have to do more than just phaser people, because security is probably the most underwritten part in Star Trek for a long time, going back to the beginning, where these guys just show up and shoot at things
and die usually. Yeah.
I really like that both stories this week are subversive. I think they pair well together in that way, and I really like when Star Trek does that. Like, I know that there's a lot of people that don't like how the burn played out, but I think that the way they went, I'm the type of person that likes a subversive surprise, because I don't expect it, and yeah, it's different and kind of weird from time to time, and it doesn't always land, but I applaud them for trying it, and I feel like that worked really well this week, because they tried it on both stories, and it turned out to be the Vulcan the whole time, and Baby Bear Shax just loves his team. Like, what?
Yep. Yeah.
And that, I feel like that's a continuation of what we've seen with Shax already, because
but like Boimler is even caught off guard. I think that's what it is that Boimler is surprised that the way they go about things is not, it's not what he thought was going to be playing it out that way, so I guess you kind of build up these expectations in your mind of what other people are like especially if you see like a friend group or something, that like if you're a fringe friend on a particular group and you think that the dynamics are a certain way and they're really something entirely different. Yeah, I think that's kind of a cool approach to a story. So there's a lot to kind of pick apart there.
Yeah, I mean, Boimler thinks he's going to go learn Tsunkatse, which kudos for another relatively deep cut reference there. And
if they get The Rock as a guest voice actor, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, he's done animation, so
yeah.
Wasn't he in the Troll movies or something?
He was in Moana.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was in the Troll movies or not, but he was Maui in Moana.
Mm-hmm. And Caleb, I'm with you with the subversive stuff. I mean, I think the way that, you mentioned the burn, I think the way that played out was a very interesting idea. I don't know if they nailed the landing completely on that, but it was still a much more interesting idea than what they could have gone with. And, if I dare to go back to that other Star franchise, I mean, it's why I really enjoyed The Last Jedi so much, was that they were playing with all these expectations that you had going in of all, like, who would do what and how things would play out, and it was intentional that Rian Johnson completely flipped a lot of that stuff on its head and didn't do what you expected from the movie, and that's why it worked so well for me. And I know that we're probably going to get crap from people on just because I mentioned.
I mean, taking a lightsaber, Snoke getting a lightsaber in his neck, that was the best thing, I think. Just that was crazy.
Awesome.
I don't think you'll get too much crap from the listeners of Infinite Diversity.
Maybe not. No,
but yeah,
no. The half of the internet just perked up right now as we're recording, because they said, "Oh my God, somebody mentioned The Last Jedi. I must go hate something now." But and yeah, to go to the whole problem with this, these emotional outbursts and everything, like the idea that it's Talen doing this all along, and I mentioned at the beginning, relating to not fitting in and everything like that. Another thing that I definitely can relate to is I can't do this thing that I really want to do, and it's all I'm going to think about right now, because the only thing that's going to get me to not be distracted is to do X, Y, or Z, and the whole episode is predicated she wants to send this message back to her old ship to complain about the Cerritos and why she shouldn't be there. And she can't, and that's what causes all this problem to happen. And I've certainly been somebody who gets, sidetracked and distracted by trivial things like that sometimes. And,
oh yeah.
And
I said, oh yeah. I don't mean, I mean that as me do it, not saying, I noticed that about you.
Yeah.
That Carl, man, that guy's just off his rails.
I know.
No,
he has lost all
control. But on that note, I think that's where, again, the strength in the story lies. Like, we go back to our very first encounter with T'Lyn. You have lost all control, right? Like, she's very much learning how to be okay with not being in control of the situation. She seemed like someone that has to be in control at all times, and whether that's a Vulcan thing or a T'Lyn thing specifically, I think that'll play out a little bit more. But like, I think by the end, right, she realizes like, my obsession with this one little thing that I think is in my control when it really isn't is the root of the problem here. And then it's just like a switch, and it's like, all right, everyone's all better because she was at peace with it. So I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, no,
I love the whole thing. Everything about T'Lyn in this episode is great. I think it's just really good how. So we saw T'Lyn we first saw T'Lyn in season 2. In Wedge Douche, and like there's a huge fan support, and because of that, like they decided to add her to the show. But it's like it had been like she's only been in 6 episodes. She was in Wedge Douche, she was in The Stars at Night, and then she's been in 4 of the 5 episodes this season. She was not in I Have No Bones Yet I Must Flee, but she's already just become such a big part of this show.
I feel like, while yes, she has become a big part of this show, I think it has come at the expense of some of the other characters so far. Like, I feel like Rutherford has not really had a lot going on this season other than his one promotion in that episode. Like, I don't know that I love that the story for Rutherford this season is, I'm going to learn how to be roomies with Boimler, and that's literally all they've done. Like,
that's fair.
So, but I still feel like Boimler's had a lot. I feel like Mariner's had a lot. Tendi had a whole episode on Orion, right? And there's still 5 episodes left, but we know that in those 5 episodes they're going to be ramping up into this final arc. And I'm like, did they peak with Rutherford last season? Like, what's going on there?
We did get a lot of Rutherford
we did,
last season.
And maybe that's part of the balance, but it just feels like there's not a whole lot of progress now.
I also wondered, I don't know if Eugene Cordero is busy. I mean, he's kind of become of all the people on the show, I think he seems to show up in a lot of things.
He's in every franchise.
I don't know, Jack Quaid is in a lot of things.
Well,
too.
That's true.
But isn't he also Cordero's not only in Star Wars, he's also doing Marvel too, didn't he?
Yeah, he's doing Marvel too. Yeah,
so
he's in Loki season, and that's just about to drop. So I mean, it could be that. It's funny. I was actually thinking about Tendi and how, I mean, she had one episode that she had a lot to do, and I don't know how much I learned about Tendi other than that she doesn't like, being in Orion so much. And I mean, it was interesting seeing her family situation back home and everything. But other than that, it feels like she's kind of been reduced to wanting to glom onto T'Lyn and be her friend. Which is fine. It's just not. She's not being given a ton to do outside of that one episode. I will say though that I like the T'Lyn edition because it shakes up the dynamic that we've been watching for 3 seasons, and it gives these people a straight, not a the stereotypical straight man role in a way that isn't, because it used to be the straight role was always the officer, the higher, like the commanders and the captain and everything, and I always thought that was kind of done at their expense in a way where you kind of wonder, like, how did these people get to be a first officer or a captain, even on a California-class ship. They kind of are being played for laughs, which I always thought was my least favorite part of the show, was that they were treated kind of as less than they should be. I enjoyed seeing Captain Freeman kind of take charge a bit. She was slightly off on her predictions, but she's the one that figures out how to take back the ship in a way where she tricks the Betazoids into reading her mind and starts a little feud with them and gets them distracted so she can call security.
Such a Kirk thing to do.
It is. It really is. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good point, though. I think the senior staff... I think I've appreciated the senior staff more this season than in previous seasons. Even Ransom. Like, I really didn't like Ransom a whole lot up until this last episode with... or not last episode, the second episode, I Have No Bones, Yet I Must Flee. Like, that was the first time where I'm like, okay, I can see the potential in Ransom as a character and not just, I don't know. I was just annoyed with Ransom, like, existence before, so... and then just, Freeman constantly getting the short end of the stick, is tiresome, So it was cool, like you said, for her to take charge there a little bit. And then we got some of Shax, and, Ta'ana we don't get a whole lot of, but, I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, Ta'ana's really just comic relief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've basically had nothing of Billups this season.
It's true.
We know he has a ferret. That's about it.
He had a dragon, I think, at one point, too, right?
Yeah, because he mentions it to Anna, and she's like, why does everyone tell me about their pets?
And we have the Billups tubes now.
Yeah.
I thought they were Tucker tubes.
Well, but they were made into the Billups tubes.
Right.
Yeah.
I missed that part.
Which is another great reference.
I especially like when Billups even says, I don't even know what we use these for.
Yeah. Yes.
So yeah, it becomes pretty obvious, everyone on the crew is acting weird, so like, it must be these Betazoids. So they take him to sickbay. Turns out, no, they don't have Xanthi fever.
But they're CIA ninjas.
Like, apparently. So, like, their whole thing is to, like, find out who's been destroying the ships, and now that Starfleet knows about them, they gotta take them. This whole story makes no sense.
Yeah, why are they undercover?
Right!
On the Cerritos.
Right!
Yeah.
I don't...
Like, yeah, and why do they have sexy fight outfits?
And what's going on Angel 1? I just, like, I don't understand. Yeah, I don't know. That part was kind of lacking for me. I'm like, okay, we're just gonna roll with it. And at the end, right, all we get is just the blurry footage of the shape of the ship. But I was like, okay, that's an interesting way to go there. I do think my favorite crazy crew member was Mignone and the Replicators.
Enjoy hell,
Replicator.
I said, what is it? Did he say it had to be masticated or something? He's like, I said regurgitated. It had to be regurgitated. This tastes nothing like my mother's mouth. Yeah. I was like, oh.
I also like that, like, at that moment, a lot of the other ones are not nearly so far gone, so, like, Ransom immediately tackles him when he does that.
I have to give props to Paul F. Tompkins for being able to get that line out without losing it. I just think about all the times he loses it on the pod directive for the stupidest shit.
Oh my god, yes.
The fact that he was able to get that line out with the delivery he did, great for you, buddy. Like,
yeah. So obviously, it turns out it's not the Betazoids. Betazoids have taken over the ship, and because they're also being emotionally controlled, they're now gonna send the ship the fastest route they can go to get to Beta Z, which means going through the Romulan neutral zone.
I like the map from from Balance of Terror.
With Romulus and Ramai, yes.
Ramai, yes.
And the neutral zone outposts.
Yep.
So, speaking of...
Have they always had warning lights in the neutral zone?
I don't think so, and also, why are they all on the same plane?
Well, that's a Star Trek trope, though.
But I'm just saying, those lights indicate two-dimensional thinking.
Indeed, yes.
I'm a flat spacer, guys.
Can I just... Can I just... Oh,
Space is a disc.
So all the Betazoid women would have lost their powers if they were the two-dimensional.
That's true.
Forms. That's not a great episode either. So I have to give a shout out to just Lower Decks in general, because they've done this several times, and they do it at the end of this episode where they pull off a totally obvious joke that I saw coming a mile away with the Romulans.
Oh, yes!
And it still had me dying.
Oh, so good! We'll go lurk over there.
Yeah. Set a course for Sector 87. We'll lurk over there.
That was good.
But just the way they decloak and everyone goes, "Oh."
That's a very Lower Decks thing to do.
Yeah, and I knew, like, the second they turned away and they had the camera shot, I'm like, there's going to be a Romulan warbird there.
How much do you want to bet that that's actually a deleted scene from Wedge Douche that they just finally were able to use?
I wonder, yeah.
They were like, we can't have a fourth ship. Let's make it 3 ships so it's less confusing, and then we'll throw the 4th ship in, Lower Deck style, 2 seasons later.
Well, that's like those like cold opens they've been doing with the Romulans and the.
Well, this is the second week in a row we didn't have a cold open, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that. That's been a pattern recently.
No, we had one. We
didn't have one last week, I don't think.
We had the Orions last week. The Orions getting blown away.
Right.
Oh, that's right. They get blown up.
It was the week before.
So it must have been 2 weeks ago.
It was 2 weeks ago that there wasn't one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was interesting that they did the Orions because it, like, that was the first time, like, the cold open matched the episode.
Right. Mm-hmm. Because it was Romulans in the first episode, right?
It was Klingons in the first episode.
That's right. It was
that's
right.
Ship
It was
from Wedge Douche,
the ship
actually.
from Wedge Douche. The second episode was the Romulans, I think.
Correct.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then we didn't have one, and then we had the Orions, and now we didn't have one again. Mm-hmm. And next week we'll see what happens.
Yep. Although
next week's episode is called Parth Ferengi's Heart Place, so if it is one, you can probably guess which one. But yeah, because T'Lyn, Mariner talks to T'Lyn, tells her that she's Vulcan as a motherfucker. Because Mariner talks T'Lyn down from being an emotional wreck, I suppose. Everything gets to go back to normal here. T'Lyn's more accepting of what is going on with her and what's going on around her. The Betazoids are no longer trying to take over the ship, and we get the secret image, the distorted image of what may be destroying other ships out there. I don't know whether that Betazoid pad is a thing we've ever seen in the past. I honestly am not sure. No. If it is, I didn't see a post from your Killerbrand, so it probably isn't.
Yeah, you would know.
So yeah, I guess we'll probably find that out in episode 10.
Hopefully before then.
No, I don't think so. I think it's going to be
the
like...
very last thing.
When they've been building up to things in their episodes, they happen at the end.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like, season 2 had the ongoing thing with the Packlids, and then season 3 had whatever was happening, the mystery with
Texas class.
Rutherford, and it was the Texas class that we found out, but we didn't know about that at first, yeah. So, yeah, I think it'll be episode 10.
I find it interesting that Mariner seems to have already established this rapport with T'Lyn, and going back to what we know of Tendi, and Tendi trying too hard to also establish that rapport, makes me wonder if there's going to be some conflict with Tendi and Mariner down the line. Because just like you said, Carl, the dynamics have changed, right? And that happens with, friendships. And of the core four, Tendi was always closer with Rutherford and less so with Mariner. And so could that already kind of shaky ground foster something?
Yeah, and that was something I was just thinking of too, is that, the closest friendship I think we've seen, like, outwardly among this group has been the Tendi Rutherford one. And it's a little weird to me that Tendi is so keen on becoming friends or even best friends with T'Lyn.
It gets really weird at the end of this episode. Like, that whole thing is weird, with Tendi, like, freaking out, like, what do you want to do? Tell me, I need to know. It's like, oh, what is happening here?
Yeah. I mean, it was excusable when she was under the influence of whatever was going on, but it seems a little over the top, I think. And it's a shame, because I like that the Rutherford-Tendi relationship isn't one that they keep trying to pretend is semi-romantic and whatnot. They've kept it pretty on the straight, and that's good, because I'd hate to see it go that way and be too cliched. And the whole thing with the first episode, or first or second episode, where Tendi didn't want to get a promotion because, or she felt bad because she couldn't be friends with Rutherford, and Rutherford kept passing up his promotion because he wanted to stay friends with Tendi. And the thought was that if one of them was promoted and the other one wasn't, they wouldn't be able to hang out together and stuff anymore. So it seems like she's moved on to T'Lyn pretty quickly.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope this weirdness doesn't continue, but we'll find out.
And then one other question I had, because I haven't read, I've purposely not read a lot of reviews, or actually any reviews of the episode or anything, but do we know what really was going on with T'Lyn? Because, I mean, they throw out Bendai syndrome, and then they kind of let it hang there. And it's like, does she have the Vulcan equivalent of early onset Alzheimer's disease?
She's only 62.
No.
I know, right? So...
Wait,
I mean,
62? You look good.
Yeah. And it's not that kind of show where they're going to do something dark.
I got the impression that what they're saying is it's not the same thing as the Alzheimer's, but it's manifesting the same way, in that she was dealing with heavy emotions and they were projecting out, but it's not that she actually has a physical ailment, I don't think.
Okay.
That's the impression I got.
It was just a one-off thing. Yeah, okay. Because I don't think they would have... It's not that kind of show, obviously, but they do... I mean, things do have repercussions from episode to episode. It's not totally episodic. And it just seemed... Having seen what Bendai syndrome does to a Vulcan...
Right.
It seemed odd that they would toss it out and not explicitly say, well, it's not that, but it is something similar, I guess. I don't know, but maybe that's the function of a 30-minute show.
Sarah,
and
died from it.
It wasn't a story they're telling.
We don't want that either for such a new character.
Right.
No.
I would like I would like if they explored an aspect of, Vulcan psychology that's probably untapped a little bit more. Like we know a lot from Enterprise with, the sharing of Katras, like you can transfer a whole Katra, and then they actually pull that through in the Vanguard novel series with T'Prin. T'Prin's this character on the station who ended up having a Katra fused to her own, and that caused a lot of issues for her as well. And so, I'm wondering if something, in that vein is going to come out. Like, why does T'Lyn not have the level of control that she should, I hope there's more to it there than just she just carves her own path, and that's not the normal thing to do as a Vulcan,
Well, I'd almost be the opposite. I'd almost be happier if it was just, this is who she is, and she shouldn't make apologies for it, and the Vulcans, frankly, just need to get over themselves, because they're the more we see of the Vulcans, the less we're inclined to like them. We like the Vulcans because of Spock, and I mean, we see you watch Enterprise and like these are a bunch of assholes on the over here, and who aren't very accommodating or willing to put up with any kind of deviation from what they think people should, or what they think other Vulcans should behave like. And we've constantly seen characters who are Vulcans who don't act the way they want to be, and that's why they're kind of, they're on a starship where they're doing something and they're kind of castigated out from the Vulcan Science Academy or what have you. And I mean, I don't need there to be an underlying pathology for why T'Lyn is acting the way she is. She's just that's T'Lyn, and I think that's all that needs to be said for it. I mean, depending on if they do come up with an explanation, it's a good one, then I'd be fine with that. But at the same time, I'm not like demanding a reason, I guess.
Yeah, I think I'm with Carl on that. All right. Well, I think we have pretty thoroughly covered this half-hour episode in the past hour and 15 minutes.
Along with some other topics, Prodigy and Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Do we have anything else that either of you want to cover that we've not touched on?
I like the shout out to the motion picture, the artwork in T'Lyn's quarters. That is the matte painting from the director's cut of TMP, which is a nice touch. We mentioned the Ambojitsu people randomly in the hallway there.
Boimler correctly guessing that it is Odo in a bucket for the charades.
Yes.
For security officer charades. Yes. I also liked the 1,000-piece Malcolm Reed puzzle.
Yeah. And then Kayshawn's response, he's like, Sokath, his eyes unconscious. Mm-hmm. When Boimler guesses correctly who it is.
So good.
Yeah. When Worf slam poetry.
Yes.
Which is amazing.
That whole thing was great. Caleb, thank you so much for joining us. Where can listeners find you online? Do you have any current or upcoming work you want to mention?
So you can find me I'm officially on all three places: Blue Sky, Twitter/X until it burns to the ground, and Mastodon. My handle is @RogueMogue, RogueMoGh. On Blue Sky, it's the same thing, and then on Mastodon, it's the same, but 10forward.social is the instance I'm on there. I'm also the host of Starfleet Academy Awards, which temporarily is on a pause because I have two lovely 6-month-old twins at home. But when I get back to it, I hope to resume the second half of a deep dive of Star Trek Discovery Season 1, where we nominate our top picks for a bunch of Academy Award-style award guest nominations and awards for things we liked about those episodes. So you can check that out, too, on your podcast player of choice.
Someone listens to Weekly Track. Anyway, Carl, where can people find you when you're not doing Worf slammed poetry?
So I, too, am on the 3 big social networks. I'm at Listening to Film on all 3. With Mastodon, it's at 10forward.social as well. Just like Caleb, I'm going to still hang around the artist formerly known as Twitter. I refuse to call it by whatever name that clown calls it these days. But, we'll see. If I have to pay for it, then I'm done. But other than that, I'm probably going to hang around until bitter end. You can also hear me and Thad talk about random stuff and occasionally a movie we've watched on our podcast, License to Spiel, which is also to be found on the platform formerly known as Twitter, at Podspiel, Spiel. And we just started off watching Bond movies and then moved into Bond adjacent movies, and now it's sort of whatever we feel like watching at the time. And we'll have themes, but we're moving into a new phase of we're starting Sinister Phase 2 of our show soon, so stay tuned for that.
And that's license spelled with a C like the British do it, because we started out with James Bond.
Exactly, yes. Thad, where can people find you when you're not failing to build a human pyramid?
Best place to find me is also on the website formerly known as Twitter. I am at Tyrannicus, that's Tyranicus. Like these other gentlemen, I am also on Blue Sky and Mastodon, same handle, and I am also on the 10forward.social instance on Mastodon. But if you want to listen to other things, there's lots of other shows on BQN, and here's Amy Nelson to tell you all about them.
What shows are on BQN, you ask? Well, here's a rundown of some podcasts you might be interested in. All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast covering all of Trek, hosted by Amy, Mark, Christos, and Kelvin. Bargain Bin Gamer, a YouTube show hosted by Davey, a self-proclaimed gamer who specializes in reviewing and showcasing affordable video games. If you're lost in the Delta Quadrant, check out The Captain's Couch, a Star Trek Voyager podcast hosted by Jeremiah sitting on Janeway's Ready Room couch. Cinema Z, a film discussion and review podcast showcasing films you probably missed but should definitely check out, hosted by Mark, Matt, and Laz. Beam Aboard the Galaxy Class, a Star Trek Next Generation podcast covering all of TNG, hosted by Amy, Joe, Rhea, and Kevin. History with the Szilagys, a snippet of historical events from around the world, hosted by Chrissie and Jason. For the newest Trek coverage, check out Infinite Diversity, hosted by Chrissie and Thad. Test your Trek knowledge with Treksperts Quiz, a Star Trek quiz show hosted and written by Davey. Union Federation, covering all things Star Trek and the Orville, which we all know is really a Star Trek show, hosted by Kyle, Kevin, Amy, and Haley. Spill the Tea with What's the Tea, Bev, a Trek current events and fan interview show hosted by Christos. And for our Patreon members, we have The Hive Mind, BQN's monthly roundtable discussion with hosts and listeners. It's Green, a cornucopia of topics hosted by Mark, and Amy's Math Moments, a quick look at math moments in Star Trek, hosted by Amy. We know you have a choice of podcasts to choose from, and we thank you for listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Thank you very much for tuning into Infinite Diversity. Thank you to Zach Tripp for the wonderful theme music and Mark White for the awesome show art. Please subscribe in your favorite podcast player, and don't forget to rate and review us there as well. If you want to reach out, you can find the network on Twitter at BQN Podcasts, or our show specifically at IDIC Podcast. We are also on Blue Sky at both of those same handles. You can also talk about any and all of the BQN podcasts in our Facebook group, the BQN Collective. When you next hear from us, we'll be talking about the next episode of Lower Decks, Parth Ferengi's Heart Place. Until then, peace and long life. They're coming for you, Carl.
I'm not even where I usually am, and the sirens are here. It's crazy. This happens all the time where I get sirens.
We'll just pretend it's the red alert that they should have activated way sooner in the episode.
Well, they only made 2 movies so far. I'm still waiting on episode 9. Anyway.
That movie was... I have never been more tempted to walk out of a Star Wars movie.
It's the only Star Wars film I have only seen once.
I saw
Yeah.
it twice in the theater because I thought surely it couldn't have been as bad as I thought it was. Turns out, yes, it was. I have never seen it since.
This is fine.
I never thought I would see a Star Wars movie that made me realize that Revenge of the Sith isn't entirely terrible. But hey, how freaking good is Ahsoka? Are either of you watching it?
No, not yet. I'm waiting till it's over.
Oh, okay.
I haven't watched it yet, and I need to
Rebels
watch
now, too.
Rebels
I
before
would.
I can.
Okay, so I don't know that you have to watch Rebels, but it is a direct sequel to Rebels.
Yeah.
They do a good enough job of explaining what's happening that you don't necessarily need to. But it is very much like straight up a sequel to Rebels.
Okay.
I had only watched like one episode of Rebels before I started watching Ahsoka, and after like 3 episodes into Ahsoka, I started watching Rebels, and but yeah, it's really good in my opinion.
Okay.
But then I also liked the 3rd season of The Mandalorian, and like most of the internet hated it, so
I haven't watched that one yet either. I've only done the first 2, and I did Boba Fett, and I did Andor, and I think that's it. And Obi-Wan.
Andor's
I did
great.
Obi-Wan too.
Obi-Wan's fine.
Obi-Wan was okay.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
But we're talking about Star Trek.
Indeed.
Star Trek. Yes.